All right, April, you're in charge of this one, so take it away.
All right. Welcome to Watching Movies with April and Kenny. I'm Kenny.
And I'm April.
And we just watched High School Musical.
Fuck yeah. Love it.
So we're ready to get into our discussion of High School Musical.
Yeah. I had never seen it before.
And I had seen it a lot. Like so many times.
Yeah, I had never watched it. Came out in 2006.
Correct.
I was a senior in high school.
I was in like 6th grade.
So you were really like the core demo.
I was the audience for that, for sure.
A Disney... Is it a Disney Channel original?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I knew that Disney Channel made it. I didn't know if like a Spike Lee joint. They have a special designation for a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah, it's a Disney Channel original. And this one and the second one just came out on the Disney Channel. And I think the third one came out in theaters, actually. So
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you think they knew how big it was going to be when they were doing it?
I don't think so. Because according to the research I did, it took them 24 days to film and 5 days to do the soundtrack. So
they were
they were phoning it in.
So interesting, because while we were taking our notes after the movie, you started playing the second soundtrack, and it sounded to me like a lot more production went into it.
Much more produced, yeah.
So that makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't think they knew that they had such a massive hit on their hands. Where it would become like no other Disney Channel. I guess Hocus Pocus kind of became a bit of a cultural phenomenon. But that was even like not at the time. That was like eventually it became something that lots of people claim to love.
Was Hocus Pocus a Disney original?
So it was a Disney movie, but I think it actually came out in theaters.
Okay.
But it had the same kind of vibe as Disney Channel original, to my mind anyway.
Okay.
Alright, so yeah, don't let me take over here.
Okay, so our playmakers of this movie.
That's a little reference to the movie itself.
So our director is Kenny Ortega, and he's done quite a bit, especially with the Disney Channel. So he did all of the High School Musicals. He's done all of the Descendants movies, which are very popular with the younger Disney demographic. Okay. And I think he did Cheetah Girls 2, again, another Disney. But I saw he also did like some episodes of Gilmore Girls.
I saw that, yeah.
Ally McBeal, and he did This Is It, which is the Michael Jackson documentary. So he's got some other stuff in there.
Well, so he was also the director for Hocus Pocus, speaking of. And he did the Newsies, which I don't know if you've ever watched. I only know because I had musical friends, and they fucking loved the Newsies. They're just little sluts for the Newsies.
So this guy is a big-time musical guy, then. Like,
yes.
This is the shit that he does.
Yes, it is. It said he also did the choreography for Dirty Dancing, which is pretty high mark, and for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the big parade scene, I guess he choreographed. So he's got some definite accolades to his name.
He's a serious guy.
Yeah. They got the right guy for it, it seems like.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, he did good things in 24 days.
It's insane.
Okay, and then as far as casting goes, we have Zac Efron, who was Troy Bolton. He's obviously done a ton of other shit.
Yeah, but this was really his first thing.
Yeah. This like launched him into...
It's weird for me to watch in retrospect, because I do know him as the High School Musical guy, but that's only like one dimension of him now.
Yeah.
Whereas at the time, it's like, who is this guy? I mean, he was the shit after this.
Yeah. Which, I think he's genuinely a good actor. Like, he's got some good stuff. He got the most out of this series.
Yes.
For sure.
He had a career that was catapulted forward.
Yeah. And then we have Vanessa Hudgens. She was Gabriella, the love interest.
Montez.
Gabriela Montez.
Como
te
dice.
She's also done some other stuff, and it's not like she disappeared after this, but
not nearly the same level of success.
No. And then Ashley Tisdale is Sharpay Evans. She was like a Disney Channel OG. Like, she was on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Right.
I don't really think she's done much other than...
Well, she was already kind of big for being in Sweet Life, and then this came after that, and then she was even bigger. And it said that she had her own album, which was a bestseller.
A bestseller? Interesting.
Yeah. I know it's not a bestseller. That's not the term for it, but you know what I mean.
Right.
It did well, is what I'm saying. People bought it and they liked it.
Okay.
And then Lucas Grabeel as Ryan Evans.
Lucas Grabeel, yes. He's one of my favorite parts of this.
Yeah, he's very enjoyable. I didn't know this. So they're brother and sister in the movie, not in real life, obviously. And I mentioned very quickly, which I guess we'll get into this as we talk about it, there's some like incest vibes very clearly signaled because they're trying out for a part of a couple as brother and sister. Just a little odd.
Which they're doing because they're the big musical artists in this school. They want to be the leads, both of them.
Right.
But
the wiki says they are twins, which I don't think they say in the movie anywhere.
I don't remember that.
I don't think they do. But anyway, I only bring it up because my friend Kyle is one of two identical twins, and he hates there are a lot of tropes in media about twins, and twincest is one that he absolutely cannot stand.
Yeah, I would imagine that'd be frustrating.
Yeah, so I know he would not enjoy that. They're both good characters. They're both probably among the most fun parts of the movie, I would say. What's
really funny is that I read that they did not get along, like those two actors did not get along, because apparently in like their auditions or like when they were first starting, Ashley Tisdale gave Lucas Grabeel like unwanted direction, like what he should be doing, and he didn't like that, which is literally their characters.
Our imitating wife.
So that was pretty funny. I had a couple other actors. Corbin Bleu was Chad. And he did some other Disney Channel stuff. He was more of a dancer, I think.
Gotcha.
Than like a singer guy.
Sure.
And then our favorite, Ms. Darbus, Allison Reed, which I guess she's done some Broadway stuff. So she was like it was very much her part.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess one other note, you were talking about the behind the scenes stuff and art imitating life. So you mentioned that it's not Zac Efron's voice in the musical. Correct. For the most part, even though he has a good singing voice.
So I read some about this.
I did too, yeah.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
No, please.
So I guess it was just that his voice, like the octave that he sings in, was just not quite appropriate for how they had written the music.
And they'd already written the music, yeah.
So he sang like a few lines here and there, but the other guy, Drew Seeley, is the one who sang most of Zac Efron's part. And
he also auditioned for the part.
Which sucks.
That does suck.
He has to do the singing, but doesn't get to be the face of it.
No.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that does suck.
But then in the future High School Musicals, they wrote it to fit Zac Efron's voice, so that's why he's fully singing in the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, which is a good choice.
Sure.
He obviously can sing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are our playmakers. We should get into taglines, huh?
Yeah.
All right, you want me to go first since this was your movie?
Sure.
In East High School, you can only do one thing, unless the other thing is wearing a hat or a blazer.
That's really good.
Thank you.
We talk a lot about hats and blazers in our watch-along because everybody is wearing, like, business casual outfits in high school.
Or outrageous hats.
Yeah, there's a lot of hats. So my tagline was just, get ready to see so many hats.
So we had a very similar theme.
Yeah. But the real tagline is...
Oh my god, I can't wait.
This school rocks like no other.
That's not very good.
That's it. With an exclamation mark. This school rocks like no other.
So they phoned in the tagline after their 24-day production and 5 days of making all the music.
Also, I'd like to say that the title of the movie is also really phoning it in.
Yes, it is, but it does what it says on the box. I do like it because you know what it is.
Sure. Well, here's the trivia behind that. High School Musical was the working title. Well, they brainstormed a better name, but by the time of post-production, there were no better options, so they just settled for High School Musical.
What did you find out what the other options were? Oh, that would be so nice. I don't know what, like, of course at this point it's so ingrained that it'd be hard to imagine what a different title would be.
Like, you can't call it Twinkle Town. Like,
no,
that
God.
sucks.
I think what you could have done is you could have come up with a better name for the fake musical, and then the name of this musical is the name of the fake musical.
Yeah.
You know, something thematic about you can only do one thing, or whatever it might be.
You can only do one thing.
Okay. So, lead us off into the actual analysis here.
Okay, so the movie starts off, it's New Year's Eve. We're at a random ski lodge.
Was not ready for this.
Kenny was not expecting this intro. So we immediately get our main characters and exactly what they're about. Gabriella is reading a book because she's a nerd.
Right.
And Troy is
shy.
Practicing basketball.
Right.
Because he's an athlete. Sorry if you can hear my pets. And so they end up at this party together. They somehow end up doing karaoke. I don't remember how this happened.
It happens very fast. They both just get thrust on stage.
To do karaoke. And she's all timid and she's got her arms crossed. Right. And she's like not going to sing. And immediately he's like a performer.
Right.
So he
super into it.
Singing. They sing seamlessly together. They harmonize like they've been singing together forever.
Since kindergarten, almost.
Since kindergarten, yeah. And this is seemingly the only time they'll ever see each other because this is winter vacation.
It was just totally random. I was under the impression that this was a big school, like, weird school vacation thing.
Okay.
Like your 8th grade trip or whatever, a senior trip.
No.
That they took, and so they were... But no.
It's just
randomly,
vacation.
just 2 kids in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
And the school is in New Mexico. So magically, she transfers and winds up going to the same school.
Yeah, what are the odds? I don't know.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not going to gripe about that. I would... If that happened in real life, I would assume she was a stalker.
Yeah, exactly. She found out where he was going to school
and transferred.
She could go there.
Yeah, that'd be very freaky. They do exchange numbers. He gets the digits right away, and then she kind of slinks away.
She just leaves.
She's shy.
She's like, I'm going to go talk to my mom.
But one thing I do like about this intro, I guess 2 things. One, like I said, wasn't expecting it. I was describing what I imagined, having never seen this movie, the opening scene would be. It would be a long shot, zoom in towards the school on a sunny day. Kids are like... It's like what you see in the rest of the movie.
I was going to say, that's what we get in literally the next scene.
Right. So I expected to start there. And then, they're part of their own cliques and, like, there's some friction between... Mm-hmm. You already know the movie. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised that it didn't start that way. I also really like that our 2 leads in what's essentially like a romance, like a romantic comedy kind of plot, like each other from the beginning.
Yeah.
There's never really any question about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good chance that they were going to do some stupid she's all that stuff where she's the ugly nerd.
Yeah, because she's too smart to be pretty.
Right. They don't do that.
That's true.
They never bother with that, which I really appreciate. I think that's actually good.
Yeah.
So now we're in East High School.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, Gabriella moved to Troy's school. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
He recognizes her. They end up in detention together.
For no reason.
Because of Miss Darbus, who is an amazing character in this movie, in my opinion. She's the...
drama and
the drama teacher. She does the musicale.
Yeah.
So she puts like 10 people in detention so that they can do set work for her.
Basically it's like free labor. And she even says as much, which I liked. Yeah. Where she was like, we've always got more to do, people.
Come on in. And then I feel like we move pretty fast. It's like Troy and Gabriella are like just talking, like walking through the hallway, and they see the audition sign up.
Right.
And they're like looking at it.
Yes. And we get set up very quickly that Sharpay and Ryan, this is like their dream.
Yeah.
This is what they do. This is what they're all about.
They are the drama club. Like they are the 2 main people.
Right. And we discover that they are very talented.
Well, first, we get our first musical number. Get your head in the game.
Right. The basketball
Which is
stomp.
like so strange to me that they're like, you need to get your head in the game. Because it's like nothing's happened so far.
Right.
Like he was just talking to a girl in the hallway and they're like, get your head in the game.
No chicks, dude. Only basketball.
Which we'll get to our main crux of the movie, which is you can only do one thing.
Right. That's the tagline. That's our tagline for a reason.
Nothing else. If you're a basketball player,
that's what
done.
You do. Don't have any other interests. Don't talk to anybody but other basketball players. You are a basketball guy.
If you're smart, that's it.
You only do book learning.
Get over that.
Yeah, so we get your head in the game, which is a fun they're doing like stomp percussion with
the dribbling. Yeah, it's a great number.
It makes more sense to me you saying that it was 24 days of production and 5 days of like making the music, because you were commenting while we were watching. It's like there's surprisingly few musical.
There's like 5 or 6 songs.
There are 5 or 6 songs, but like the total amount of time they take up in this musical is like 10% maybe of the total runtime.
Yeah,
and 5% of that is the last 10 minutes of the movie. So
yeah, the last number. Yeah.
So Gabriella and Troy decide to maybe I don't know. This part's weird. They're like both kind of interested in doing the musical, mostly to hang out with each other.
Yeah, I guess so.
As like a shared interest. But they're both, like, she's nervous because she's nervous about performing, and he doesn't want to be seen doing something else.
He doesn't want his friends to know that he's more than just basketball.
He might do 2 things, yeah. So he's sneaking around and hiding.
Yeah.
And we get another musical number with Sharpay and Ryan, which is pretty...
which they kill it.
They do. But yeah, this is the most twin-cesty of the scenes, because it's a very, like, I don't know... sultry kind of dance. I guess a few of their numbers are.
So it's like a romantic song, right?
Right.
But they did tell Kelsey, the composer, they're like, we switched up the composing. So it's like upbeat and just like kind of dancey. It's not so much like romantic. So maybe that's why they did that. Sure.
Let's imagine that that's the case. Yeah, but they put on a great show. We get, up until this point, Sharpay... she's high-strung, but she really hasn't done anything bad. She winds up being the villain, the antagonist.
Yeah.
But she really hasn't done anything. At this point, she does, like, chastise and
like
browbeat.
Threatens.
Yeah, the...
Kelsey, the composer.
The composer. Which I don't think any place really does this. In high school musicals... you don't have a student writing a musical.
That's wild. Like, she must be really talented.
Yeah, she is the real talent in this whole production if she's doing that.
She's the playmaker.
I like the double entendre of play there. That's good. Yeah, so she browbeats her a little bit. And then our 2 heroes, they're too late.
They're, like, lurking in the back behind some mops.
Right.
And Miss Darbus is like...
anybody else?
Last call. One more time.
Nobody says anything.
Gabriella waits until she's, like, asked that question twice and is starting to leave. And she's like, wait, I want to audition.
And Mrs. Darbus is like, no.
I fucking said, last call. What the hell are you doing?
I kind of respect that.
Yeah.
If I'm putting myself in Mrs. Darbus's shoes and I want to go home and grab some Taco Bell and, I want to go about I'm clocked out. No more also, extra time.
This was during free period, so she's like, free period is over. Like, what do you want me to do?
Right.
And also, I mean, Troy and Gabriella are setting a this is like, to wait and be late and like too timid to say, hey, okay, let's audition. Like, that's not a good sign for your leads in a musical, you know?
You want people to be punctual.
I understand
and reliable.
Where Darbus is coming from.
I do too. It does feel ridiculous because she says twice in the movie, you're far too late, when they're literally 10 seconds. It's like, you are late. I would leave it at that. Not far too late.
Far too late.
So yeah, and then she leaves, Darbus leads, and they decide to sing anyway.
Yeah, well, they help Kelsey up. She falls. They help her pick up all her music, and she's like, you guys want to hear how the song really goes? And then they start singing, and that's how they get a call back.
And Darbus is lurking, and she's like, call back is in another week.
Yeah.
So, we've got our setup. We've got rivals. We've got these 2 couples who are going to be auditioning for the leads in Twinkletown.
Right now the stakes are pretty low, and I gotta say,
very low.
They stay pretty low.
The stakes never rise. Yeah. And it's 2 things. The stakes, that's the stakes of the movie. Who will get the lead in the musical? And then will they, won't they, with Troy and Gabrielle. Although at this point, there's nothing stopping them. Literally nothing stopping them right now.
Yeah.
And then the obstacles in their way are also pathetically flimsy.
This is where you get you can only do one thing.
Right.
So the callback list goes out. We see that Troy and Gabriella are on the callback list. Oh!
Can't believe it.
Everybody freaks out.
Yeah.
We get our next number in the cafeteria.
Right.
Which is called Stick to the Status Quo.
Right. And this song, the way it works is we look at different cliques in high school. Mm-hmm. So you've got, like, the jocks, the basketball players. You've got the nerds. And you've got the stoners. Effectively.
So we get a basketball player singing about how he likes to bake.
He confesses, I have a secret. I like to bake.
I like to bake. And everybody's like, what the fuck, dude?
You can't bake. You already play basketball. And then, yeah, the nerdy girl is like, I like hip-hop. And they're like, where is this coming from?
You can dance?
Yeah.
No way.
And the stoner kid plays cello. And they hate that for some reason. Don't know.
A song? Lots of good actors in this movie, too. But they're literally singing at this part, stick to what you know. Right. Stick to the status quo.
Don't change. Don't learn new things.
You got one thing.
You can only do one thing.
Commit.
And so, yeah, this is the main conflict. There's some sort of fever going on through high school where everybody's like, even groups who don't have anything to do with each other will conspire together to stop people from doing more than one thing. Yeah. Which becomes the new driving force for the second act.
Yeah. So their friends even, like, team up. The jocks and the nerds team up. Because they're like, well, our friends can't do other things. Right. And so they orchestrate this whole thing where they, like, broadcast.
Well, first they do some really weak, like, sales pitching for you gotta stop doing the other thing.
Which leads directly into the broadcast.
Right.
So, like, you get your PowerPoint being like, jocks never evolved. Why are you interested in a jock?
We are the future. Leave these Neanderthals behind. That's literally what the nerdy girl says to Vanessa, to Gabriella. And then, the basketball players are more just like, you want to be a legend like all these guys? Like your old man, Coach Dad?
Yeah, we haven't talked about Dad yet.
You want to be that kind of legend? You gotta get your head in the game. Mm-hmm. Remember we sang that earlier? That really didn't take with you. And so eventually, Zac Efron's like, I just gotta say something to get these guys off my back.
Yeah, these guys are fucking annoying.
And so he's like, I'm all in on basketball. It's fine. I was just in the musical for a lark. It doesn't mean anything.
And they've got a very obvious, like, webcam and microphone. Like, they pull it out while he's saying this.
And they're broadcasting to
Gabriella's computer, I guess.
Yeah. So she's watching him say, I don't care about the musical.
And she's obviously immediately crying. Yeah. Because that's hard to deal with.
Devastating.
And her friends are like, you want to get lunch?
Yeah, immediately.
You want a sandwich or something? And she's like, I'm fucking crying right
devastated.
now. They're like, okay, we'll catch you later.
And then we have your favorite song.
Yeah, the worst number in this whole thing. And it's called When There Was Me and You. I had to look up the title because it's so forgettable. It's just an okay song, you know?
It's forgettable, and it doesn't have... I mean, it's a sad song, but it doesn't have any choreography. She just, like, wanders the halls. That's it.
You get the giant blown-up poster.
That was very funny. That was very funny. I love the idea of having promotional materials in your school with current players' faces.
Just absolutely blown up on the walls.
Yeah, literally giving student athletes a big head about their importance. So yeah, that happens. This is like, this is gonna happen in a romantic comedy. Mm-hmm. The tragic misunderstanding.
Miscommunication, yeah.
But this is pretty weak as far
Certainly.
as... To the point where when they're writing the dialogue, Gabriella literally has to say just nonsense to stop talking to him. Yeah. Because he's like, I'm confused, let me explain. She goes, me neither. And walks away. That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, me neither.
But that's our core conflict.
Right. And then obviously, like, they're both really sad at this point.
Right.
And Troy is losing his mojo. He can't
So this
make
gets us back to Coach Dad.
Okay, Coach Dad.
So
bad guy.
This is Troy's dad, who is also the coach of the basketball team, and who is also a star basketball player in high school.
Obviously still clinging to that. He can't get over the basketball thing.
Right. That was his glory days. That was the best that it ever was.
Yeah.
That was the height of his life. And now he's trying to live vicariously through his son.
And we make a lot of jokes in our watch-along track about the dad's like, you got to get a scholarship. And they live in like a giant, really nice mansion. House. They have a basketball court.
A full-size concrete basketball court.
We can't afford to send you to college, buddy. Like,
obviously that's not what it's about.
Right.
You could have, it would have been so easy to put him in like a small house and that solves your problems.
But no.
My guess is that house belonged to someone in production. Since they're making it in 24 days. Yeah. They're like, here we go, easy peasy.
What's really great about the dad is that he has a lot of unearned growth.
Okay, so by the end. That's a whole category for me, an overall comment. Unearned growth is a big part of this movie. And the dad is probably the biggest example.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie, he's a dick.
Yeah.
He's a dickhead. He never says anything cool or good. He's just constantly on Zac Efron being like, you gotta play ball. Yeah,
you can't have a girlfriend.
Can't do anything else. I don't want you talking to this girl. And so, yeah, he's pretty... He says at one point, you haven't missed a practice in 3 years, and he's pissed that he missed practice. It's like, that's a pretty good really record. Good. Yeah, so...
He's got great attendance.
Yeah. And then, when we get to the end of the movie, completely unmotivated, basically, he goes to Zac Efron and says, I just want you to have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah, do what you want to do.
I care about you.
Yeah, comes out of nowhere.
Zac Efron is like, thanks, coach. I mean
Dad?
Father. Are you my dad?
Yeah, I was thinking about it afterwards when I was taking my notes, and I say it's completely unmotivated, but the way things are sequenced, because right before this, you were saying he lost his mojo. Mm-hmm. He's heartbroken because things aren't working with him and Gabriella, so he can't make a basket. Very comical. But his dad looks out the window and sees him sucking ass playing basketball.
He's clearly upset because he's like, oh man, he throws himself on the ground.
Yeah, and the dad's just like, my kid sucks, and he closes the door.
Not going to have a talk with him.
Yeah. And then the next thing he says is, I just want you to have fun. So it almost reads as if he's like, my kid can't play ball when he's heartbroken. I got to get him back in the game.
Yeah.
He sucks.
He's a terrible character.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're both really sad. Obviously, like, there was a miscommunication. Their friends were like, oh no, our friends are sad.
How did this happen?
I guess we should apologize. So they apologize, and then Gabriella's like, no, like, why would I? He said those awful things. Like, why would
he still said them.
Yeah. But Troy, like, has to stalk her.
Yes.
And, like, climb up on her balcony.
Yeah, go to her home.
Sing a few lines to a song.
Yeah. Yeah, I was confused by that. So when he said, I've got something for you, was he referring to this performance? Okay.
I think.
Okay. Because I was confused because he shows up there and I'm like, it's me.
Yeah, I'm the surprise.
I've got a surprise right here for you, baby. Takes his pants off.
So we were confused about this, and I don't think I ever caught this, is that I guess they were going to audition separately. Because they were practicing separately the whole time.
Right.
And then here he's like, we could audition together, which I was like,
of course. Yeah, like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, because the final audition that, like, the Sharpay twins do too.
It's a duet.
Like,
yeah.
It makes no sense why they've been practicing apart.
I never caught that. Like,
and there's no, like, you don't, I guess the only thing you gain from a writing perspective is he has this thing to give in this moment of, like, let's duet.
Together.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes literally no sense.
Especially when they first sang it on stage, they were singing it together as a duet.
Right.
Like, why would you then take it separate?
I don't know. Very strange.
Very strange.
And Gabriella forgives him for some reason.
In a couple of seconds.
Nothing really changes. Like, he doesn't...
No.
I guess he apologizes and he's like, I only said that to keep... Like, basically explains, like...
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
I needed them to get off my back.
Right. And it's true, they were being real weirdos.
Which we also, we made this comment in our watch along of like, if your friends did this to you, you would not continue to be friends with them.
Definitely not.
That's fucked up.
Definitely not. Especially from my point of view, Gabriella makes even less sense. Because, okay, Troy's been going to this school presumably his whole life. He's
got
known
a
these
strong
guys.
friend group.
Right.
They're a
Gabriella has
team.
been in this school for
like a week.
And her friends are this nerd crew who basically want to exploit her brain
so they can win
the decathlon, the Scholastic Decathlon. And they've barely said anything to each other. And one of the first interactions she has with them are them lying and manipulating her to stop her from doing what she loves and being with somebody she likes.
They're very clearly bad people.
Right. And they're like, I'm sorry.
Which their apology is really bad, too. Like, oh, we feel really bad. We feel awful. And Gabriella says something, you're like, we tried.
Well, yeah, Gabriella says, I'm not mad at you. Like, but it doesn't change anything. But I don't know why you
should be.
You should be mad. You need to be a little more assertive, Gabriella.
But anyway, they get back together. They're practicing together. Everything's working out until...
There's one more obstacle in the way. That clever Sharpay.
Sharpay and Ryan somehow convince...
They enter their villain era.
Miss Darbus within a few seconds to change the date of callbacks. So that the championship
So what's going to be Friday,
Yeah.
where going to be the callbacks, and Saturday is going to be both the basketball championship and the Scholastic Decathlon.
So they want it all to be at the exact same time
Right.
so that Troy and Gabriella can't make it to callbacks.
Right.
And Miss Darbus is like, yeah, okay. Let's fuck them over.
Something I didn't even put together while watching it is it's even more ridiculous that this like convoluted reason why they can't do the callbacks when all of these things are happening in the same building.
Yeah. Like, you could just walk a few feet over there.
Right.
Like,
Can we do it like immediately after?
yeah, give me like an hour.
Especially because there's only 4 people trying out, 2 couples. So can we work around our schedules potentially?
No. The theater waits for no one.
So a completely artificial obstacle here at the end, but it gives our friend groups the chance to work together.
Yeah, the gang gets together.
Yeah, and makes a play together.
Which is a really fun. It's really funny how they get Troy and Gabriella into callbacks.
Yes. They hack the Matrix to mess with the power in the gym during the championship game. So everybody has to leave the gym, which I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah.
The power goes out doesn't mean there's an emergency.
Yeah, everybody get out. This place is going to blow.
So they don't get out of the building either. They just go to the auditorium. Mm-hmm. And then, what do they do in the decathlon?
She also sends a code to the beaker.
To a Bunsen burner.
Yeah, exactly. And then it makes the whatever's in the beaker boil, and it smells really bad.
Or is like a,
so they have to evacuate. Well, they're all like waving in front of their noses.
Nauseous fumes.
Like, okay.
So,
not sure how that really works, but...
While this is going on, Sharpay and
Ryan.
Mr. Sharpay are doing their saucy...
Bop to the top.
Yeah, their saucy little Latina flavored number in their fabulous outfits. Mm-hmm. Great song.
They clearly put a lot of time and effort into all of it. Choreography, music, outfits,
both
props.
their numbers they did for sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, sorry, they're not showing up. And then they do show up, and they sing, we're soaring, flying.
There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. But, so Gabriella apparently doesn't consider that she'll have to sing in front of people eventually.
She's still shy.
Yeah, so they, like, start the music and she can't sing.
Right.
So then Troy gives her, like, a saucy little pep talk. Like, look at me, right at me.
It's like when we were in kindergarten.
It's like we're in kindergarten.
Which is a weird motivational line.
And then they fucking kill it.
Yeah. They do a great job. They get the part.
It really wraps up from here. So they get the part. They win the basketball championship.
In like 2 seconds.
She wins the decathlon.
Also in 2 seconds. And then one big fun musical number at the end to wrap things up.
They really come together for a 10-minute finale.
Yes.
Song and dance.
Which is the only song I really knew anything.
Kenny was singing the lyrics to it.
We're all in this together when we go to the dance, make our dreams come true.
Pretty close. Good enough.
I'm trying to think if there's any, like, other stuff I wanted to cover here at the end. Oh, rewinding a little bit to the 2 tryouts, the Sharpays and Troy and Gabriella. I think I would have gone with the Sharpays, because they're both groups are very talented as far as like singing goes.
But performance wise,
it's not even
hands
close.
Down.
Like Troy and Gabriella have no choreography. Yeah. Like Troy's, moving a little bit. Like he's at
least a performer. Yeah. He's got some energy.
Right. But they didn't plan anything else. And meanwhile, they had a huge production. Which, I mean, granted, that's not your job if you're a star in a musical, but you gotta respect that passion, I think. So, I would have given it to them, I think. I think that's only fair. And also, you point out at the very beginning, because obviously you've watched this a bunch of times, you think it's kind of bullshit that Sharpay gets shafted at the end when this has been her life. Right.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if it had ended with, Zac Efron's been basketball boy forever, and somebody comes into his world and I've never played before, and he becomes the star player. It's like, well, that kind of sucks.
You'd be real mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. One note I had is that I think I would have liked if they would have done one of two things with Sharpay. Either go even harder on her being an awful, one-dimensional villain, so that you could really get behind her not getting what she wants at the end of the movie. Or, and I think I would have preferred this actually, if Mrs. Darbus, after they try out, says, those are such great performances, we're going to have 2 productions of the musical. So because I want to highlight all of your talents. That would have been pretty cool. And it would have fit with the we're all in this together vibe at the end.
So Sharpay does come to that last, song and dance, and she comes up to Gabriella and she's like, I'm your understudy if you don't make it to a show. So break a leg.
Right.
And Gabriella's like, what? Break a leg? Like, she's never heard that phrase before in her life.
Yeah.
And then Sharpay's like, it means good luck. She says it, really nicely. She's, smiling and happy.
And they present at the end, she's performing and dancing along with everything, and so is Ryan is also. It just looks like they're having fun. And it's like, okay, I don't need her to, die at the end of the movie. I think that's totally fine. But if you want to do that, I would have liked, a little more resolution with her villainous angle.
We missed. Apparently, there's an after credits.
I saw
scene.
that.
Okay.
So there are some side characters. Some of them I find really cute and charming, and some of them I hate. Chad is a real piece of shit, in my opinion.
Chad.
No, he sucks. But one of them's, I didn't even hear his name in the movie. His name's Zeke. Yeah. He's a basketball player. He is the basketball player who bakes and is told, don't do that. Yeah, and which is how cool is that?
Yeah.
How would people not be behind a tall, handsome basketball player who bakes? Yeah. And he offers Sharpay some cookies as a way of saying, and says, I think you're really talented. I think you should have got the part.
Yeah.
And she's like, eye roll, and goes away, just leaves him alone. And it's like,
Ryan takes the cookies, and he's like, thanks, man, good job.
Yeah, and he even pats him. He's just a super nice guy. And I was pissed off that the movie is just going to leave this fun side character like that. But
yeah, we missed. Apparently, there's an end credit scene, which after I read this, I was like, I remember this. Sharpay has eaten the cookies and comes back and finds him. And it's like, your cookies are so good. Can you make me some more? And
he says, I'll make you a creme brulee.
Ooh, so they have a little
love connection maybe
going on there.
Yeah. Okay. I don't subscribe to everybody has to be rewarded with romance at the end of things.
Right.
But that just beggared belief that nobody would be into this guy. I just don't buy that.
You should be drowning in pussy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Chad and Taylor, the queen of the nerds, get together for some reason.
They should not be together.
Absolutely not. They know nothing about each other. They're both
total
awful.
Opposites. Yeah.
Yeah, they've spent the entire movie saying you can only do... They were the champions.
They were railing against each other's factions.
Right, exactly. Taylor literally called him a Cro-Magnon Neanderthal, who was an evolutionary dead end, 30 minutes ago. So I don't think they're going to work out.
But now they're into each other.
Yeah, okay.
I also read that Lucas Grabeel is Ryan, and Kenny Ortega decided together that Ryan was going to be gay, but Disney Channel didn't do that sort of thing, so that wasn't a part of it.
I think you can read between the lines.
For sure, absolutely, yes. And I read that Ryan was supposed to have a crush on Zeke, but most of the scenes got cut.
You can sense it. Like, you can see that angle there for sure. It does suck that they weren't able to do it.
The other really good trivia piece I have is that a duet between Coach Bolton and Miss Darbus was planned, but never filmed.
Oh, now that would have been
great.
That would have been nice. Yeah, I would cheer on Mrs. Darbus kicking Coach Dad's ass in a duet.
I would have loved that.
That would have been awesome. Other overall notes I have. The jokes in this movie are awful. There's like one or two good ones that got me. Some of it was unintentional. Gabriella singing her sad song and leaning against the giant face of Zac Efron was very funny. But obviously, we're not supposed to be laughing at it. It's like the emotional low point of the movie. But yeah, Chad's like jokes are just the worst. Yeah. Like, they're awful.
Very bad. Ryan was pretty funny.
Yes. I will give you that.
The jazz square.
Yes.
Everybody loves a good jazz square.
Yeah. So, that was good.
Yeah. Let's talk about the costumes, okay?
Yeah, I guess, we mentioned it briefly, but this was a big part of our enjoyment of the movie. So, it was 2006. It was a different era. I don't think the outfits here are largely representative
indicative of the time.
Some of it is. Like, I think...
low-rise jeans, for sure.
Yeah. Zac Efron's boring outfits were pretty spot on, I think.
I mean, he wore, like, kind of baggy jeans, sneakers, and, like...
an undershirt with a sweater.
Right.
Is what he would wear.
Very normal.
Yes.
Everybody else wore a blazer at all times.
Virtually all times.
Which is so strange, because, like, how many high schoolers did you see wearing blazers?
I did see high schoolers wearing blazers, but if you did, you are really making a statement.
Yeah.
And you are odd.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
I knew a few people in high school and college who always wore blazers. And it was a definite choice. And they were like the cool, weird kids, basically, for doing that. In East High School, if you don't wear a blazer, you're kind of weird. And actually, we were watching the movie, and I have a little theory that the blazer is like a symbol of power. Because when you see no blazer, a lot of times...
For a sad song.
Exactly. Yeah. Something bad's happening or has happened to you, and then you lose the power of the blazer.
The power blazer,
right.
Yes.
Until the end of the movie, when you can show your real colors, take off the lab coat and show your fabulous dress, take off the track coat. So the jacket, the blazer is power in High School Musical. This is my deep reading.
There were a lot of powerful students at East High.
Definitely. Sharpay comes in like a boss every time.
That's true. She was wearing business casual always.
Yeah. But with rhinestones and
white slacks, and like everybody was wearing kitten heels. Like,
yeah, she looked like I think you said she looks like a housewife.
Lady,
a Beverly Hills housewife. Very interesting. I mean, they're trying to make her like uptight and rigid, and so that kind of works for that.
She had some cool outfits. I mean, they were trying to make her look like a diva.
Yeah.
Which also, a lot of hats in this movie.
A lot of hats. Ryan wore most of them.
I read that he had 9 different hats in this movie.
Did you really find that? They're great. But he's not the only one.
Kelsey also wore a lot of hats.
Yeah, there were a lot of hats.
Sharpay wore a lot of hats.
I will say, the kind of kids who would wear fashion hats, are going to be the theater kids.
That's true.
That's actually not misrepresentative at all.
That's true. It's not like Troy ever wore a hat or Gabriella.
No, they didn't.
That's true.
It was kind of to indicate these are the musical kids.
You're not wrong.
Let's see. What else did I write down?
I was upset that there was no kiss in this movie.
Yeah.
All that build up and no kiss.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a Disney kids show. You get a peck on the cheek.
You see animated characters kissing. Like, why not 2 people?
Dunno. I think they don't want to encourage the junior high kids watching this to start making
out.
Yeah, to start snogging each other nonstop. That's my guess.
I guess.
I think that there's a little bit of prudishness going on there.
Sure.
So that's my guess. But yeah, it was kind of strange. Like, they're definitely a couple. Like, they become a couple almost instantly.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene they go up onto the roof to Troy's secret garden, whatever the fuck that was, to hang out. And then they're like, oh, we're going to be late. And he, like, grabs her hand and they run off. And it's like, okay, they're dating.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
But that's about the height of intimacy that you get in the movie. Let's see. I wrote Mrs. Darbus is utterly capricious in her decisions. We kind of already talked about that. Yeah, you were talking about character growth and how characters change for basically no reason. So we talked about the coach. Mm-hmm. Mrs. Darbus kind of falls in that too, because she seems to oscillate between being a huge stickler and I'm going to follow the rules exactly, this is serious, and what the hell.
I'm throwing it away.
Yeah. So that's kind of strange.
She literally throws her clipboard at the end.
Right. And Sharpay, although she's not villainous for most of the... She's the antagonist, but she's not a real villain until the end, where she's actively trying to sabotage their chances of getting in the musical. And then she just kind of cools off that, again, for no reason.
Yeah.
She's like,
man, a lot of waffling.
Lost fair and square, I guess. So yeah, that's High School Musical. Catchy songs. Haven't really talked about the music too much, except for the song.
What was your favorite number?
I think both of the Sharpay twins numbers are my favorite. I thought they were the most fun. Mm-hmm. And they were also the only ones that had anything to do with the musical. Oh, this is a key note that I didn't realize. Again, having never watched this movie, there is no musical in High School Musical.
It's just the audition.
I thought for sure that this would culminate in the big performance of the High School Musical. Nope, just to get in.
I think the third one is the only one where they do an actual musical.
Gotcha. Weird. So, I think... Again, we talked about when we were watching it, there were some moments where we were imagining like the comedy version of this, if you were doing a spoof. Mm-hmm. Like Gabriella's singing her sad song, we imagine her falling down the stairs for like 5 minutes. I think another one that I would do is, since you're just showing the tryouts at the end, the last thing is like showing like the school newspaper like hitting a table and the camera hits it. It's like Twinkletown Bombs on opening night. No one attends. That would be
funny. That'd be really funny.
But, yeah, those are mine. What's your favorite song?
I think the Status Quo song is my favorite.
That was the fun. I laughed the most at it.
It's really funny.
It's just such a ridiculous concept. Literally saying, stick to the status quo.
Change.
No one, even if you're for keeping things the way they are, you would never try to sell it by saying, stick to the status quo.
Stick to the stuff you know.
Don't change.
One thing and one thing only.
You get one thing. Okay, so final review time? All right.
Yeah.
I said this in our commentary as well. I give this movie a 7.0 on the Disney original movie scale. So that's grading on a curve with other Disney Channel original movies.
There's some really good Disney original movies.
Luck of the Irish, obviously.
Smart House.
Motocrossed. I still haven't watched Motocross.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. But I think it was a perfectly watchable movie. I was not...
Hell yeah! Let's go!
I was not sad to watch it. I was...
See, Kenny has been dreading this.
That's true.
Every time I bring it up, knowing that
to the point where I dodged recording it yesterday and made up an excuse.
Kenny is just like, ugh, High School Musical. But I told you were going to like it.
I would watch this over Con Air any day of the week.
Wow.
I think it's better than Con Air.
I don't think I would even say that.
I think it's better than Con Air.
Wow. You heard it here, folks.
More coherent story.
Well, that's easy to do.
See, but you enjoy filth.
Trash.
And I don't. So it makes sense that I would rather watch this, because it is more of a coherent movie with characters and a plot that all comes together.
That makes sense.
So what about you? What did you give this?
I rated it 90 out of 100 hats. I said, it's really low stakes, and the character growth is not deserved, and the conflict is stupid, but I still think it's really good. I think it holds up. I think if you showed this to, like, a 6th grader, like I watched it when I was in 6th grade, they'd still think it was good.
Yep, that was my recommendation, too. I'd recommend this to junior high kids who like musicals.
Yeah.
And I think that seeing the way they present this high school, it's like how a junior high student might imagine high school to be. It's not realistic at all with how high school works. But I can imagine a junior high kid being like, wow, like the big game, and like, oh, geez, like, I imagine that would resonate with a junior high kid. Yeah, I would agree. I think it would hold up to this day, even though it's 15 years old at this point. I mean, obviously, some part of it must resonate, because there's been multiple sequels, and you said there's a TV show.
Series, High School Musical, the musical, the series.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's really funny, actually.
I hear it's good, actually.
That's really funny. Who's in it?
Young people.
Okay. None of the original people?
And it's like a different kind of concept, I think.
Sure. Just borrowing the name and the loose idea.
Yeah.
We also talked about, like you were mentioning, High School Musical was a working title for the thing that eventually became the real title. It's just such a loose idea. Like, it's so broad. Like, imagine putting on a musical in high school. That's the whole thing. So it doesn't surprise me that you can really do a bunch of different things that are all kind of the same thing. You can go anywhere with that. It could be like a dark story of lust and revenge.
In high school.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Well, yay! I'm so glad it was positive for you.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Don't think I would have pursued it on my own.
No.
But I had a good time.
Yes. Up next, High School Musical 2.
We'll have to do my next movie first. I don't even remember what it was.
I have no clue.
Constantine.
Oh, I like Constantine. That'll be fun.
Yeah, so I'm not going to deliver any punishment because this was okay.
Well, the thing is, like, your punishment is, like, a really good movie.
Yes. A really slow-paced...
Yeah, like, intellectual kind of...
Like, we watch Annihilation next, and you'd be bored.
That's a good book.
You might like the movie. I said that about 2001, though, too, and you were very lukewarm on it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, join us next time for Constantine, or join us next time for our commentary track on High School Musical.
And remember, everybody, we're all in this together. Once we know we're all stuck, and
you can only do one thing.
Wear a hat.
Wear a hat. Oh, it wasn't recording. No.